What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. We've got a great video for you guys. Today, we're gonna be going over why Teslas can actually be the worst car for rideshare. Before we jump into this video, we wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Solo. Solo is the best app for rideshare drivers, hands down. It gets you guaranteed pay, better earnings overall. It tracks your expenses, and it has a lot of other features in it. It's free nationwide, so any one of you can sign up for it. On top of that, if you use our link that's in the description, you'll get 10 bucks just for signing up. So check that out, guys, and let's jump in. Alrighty, so for Teslas, a lot of people are starting to swear by this being the best car for rideshare. And me, myself, I'd like to actually try it out, but I don't feel like going and buying one. I like my Jetta TDI. I'll stick with diesel fuel over electricity all day. Uber is launching a program. Obviously, a lot of you have heard about this. They're trying to promote going entirely green in the next, I can't remember the exact number. It's like 5 to 10 years. They said they're going to be fully electric. So everyone's excited about this. They unveiled it for some drivers in California who claimed they made so much more money because they weren't paying gas. Obviously, that's going to be true. There's no way around that. You will definitely save money on gas, but there's a few other equations that they're really not considering with this. The biggest one being charging stations. So I've driven Teslas quite a few times, actually. I used to do a lot of film production, and we actually did a small commercial for a company that was renting them out. They're awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. They are awesome, awesome, awesome vehicles to drive. Very, very fun, very fast, and obviously, you know, not having to pay the gas and everything is incredible. But if you're in an area that doesn't have charging stations accessible, this is actually a nightmare for you. Some people that drive Teslas that I know, they've told me that oftentimes, based on where they live, they're having to drive 10 to 20 miles, sometimes more, just to find a charging station they can even use. So on top of that, if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of charging stations, imagine you pull up and, you know, it's the middle of the day, you really need to get back out there, and you're anticipating having 45 minutes before you go out and continue your Uber Lyft shift. But instead, you've got 6 Nissan Leafs taking up every station, and they're there for a long, long time. Now that example is actually a real example from a rideshare driver, and that's something he told me he runs into all the time. Is these other cars that take a lot longer to charge, these newer electric, you know, from Ford, Nissan, whoever, and there's just not a lot of charging stations. So for Uber, you know, they unveiled this program in California in an area with tons of charging stations, in an area that's very pro electric cars. It makes a lot of sense there. But trying to get this to go nationwide is going to be a nightmare. Because think about this. What's one of the biggest complaints that we've heard about Uber? Apparently, we're all destroying the environment because there's so many more cars on the road because of Uber and Lyft. I've always adamantly disagreed with this, though. Because for me, like, there's so many more people who are now not driving cars. I don't think that, what do they say? There's I think, 1 million rideshare drivers, something like that. Maybe that's just Uber. I don't know the exact number, but it's not too outlandish. And when you think about how many of those are actually active, so, you know, maybe there's X amount of more active cars per day, but I want to know how many are not active now because of Uber and Lyft. All that being said, though, one thing you can all relate to is you pull up to a gas station towards a busier shift. If it's a busier gas station, I usually will see 2 or 3 other rideshare drivers. I'll see their Lyft or Uber decals. So now imagine a scenario like this with charging stations. If you don't plan it out perfectly, you're going to be sitting there waiting for potentially a really long time. There's going to be lines of cars waiting to get charged. There's going to be a plethora of Uber drivers probably getting in fights over who was in the line first. to charge their Teslas. So to me, this will only make sense, Uber's little Go Green initiative, if they're doing it in these cities that do have a lot of chargers. But if they plan on going fully electric, this is going to cause massive problems in smaller cities, or really just areas that, you know, are a little more fringe, like outside of the city. You know, I'm sure there's even parts in California where it's probably not as easy to find an electric charging station as you might think. So it's a great idea that we'll all drive Teslas one day for Uber and Lyft, if it ever gets there. I mean, to me, by the time that's ready, the autonomous driving will probably be ready. So the big Go Green initiative isn't about getting drivers access to Teslas. It's about getting us out of the cars and going fully electric. Now, if that's the case, then it makes a lot of sense. Driverless cars pulling up to these charging stations in a perfect robotic order. You know, no one's really competing because, yeah, it's just one company, no independent contractors at this point. But if that's not the case, this will be a nightmare. So one thing I would say to really consider before you go buy the Tesla is the area you're in, because if you don't have access to a multitude of options of charging stations, and if you can't charge it at your home, you might really have some problems when you're out there trying to make your money. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you check out Solo, linked in the description below. Get your free $10 just for signing up using our link. I hope you guys enjoyed this video again, and stay tuned for more updates.